I just invested $25,000 into Palantir stock, and I'm gonna double my position in this video and show you guys how I'm going to sell covered calls to generate some income on top of owning an amazing stock. I do wanna update you guys on my thesis on PLTR stock as well, because September 28th, this stock had been down 6% during a major pullback. I've done a deep dive into the stock, so make sure to stick around through the video as it's going to be an intensive analysis. Real quick, all I ask is you drop an early thumbs up. It helps out my hard work, and the rumor has it that it'll make you stupid rich. Also, if you do find value in my option experience and want to follow my $7,000 to $17,000 challenge, which I'm up 12% on the month in September so far, you can submit an application for a free call with my team in the first link in the description. Palantir's market cap is just under $50 billion. Price to sales is 37, and quarterly revenue growth is 49%. Of the past 4 quarters of earnings, Palantir had 3 huge beats and it met expectations in Q1 2021. Aside from their statistics and financial numbers, I've really studied their business model and competitive advantages in their niche. The company is expanding very well. Palantir is a data mining and analytics company that operates 2 main platforms, Gotham for government agencies and Foundry for large enterprise customers. They have huge stable revenues from government contracts and faster growing revenue with bigger market size from large enterprises like the S&P 500 companies of the world. As someone who has a data analytics and finance degree and having a quant analyst internship in college, a data company always piques my interest. Palantir's margin expansion and revenue growth opportunities continue to be backed by a leading position in the government space and an ever-increasing presence with other commercial applications. But really the reason I'm investing more in this stock is because I'm looking out 5 years from now. Will I make a lot of money owning this stock long term? The answer for me is I'm highly confident that I will. Data companies not only have huge margins, but they are required and essential. Just like you need to eat, a company needs to have some type of advantage. I don't care if it's cheaper prices, better marketing, better services, or whatever. In today's day, every large company that isn't cheap to spend money on consultants knows that without using data, they're absolutely And seriously, I know I don't have 1 million subscribers and I'm not a hype YouTuber promising get rich tomorrow, but I've been a digital strategy consultant for IBM and I know this area very well. I was actually a consultant out of college for IBM because I had enough finance experience that my growth in knowledge was experiencing diminishing returns and I was getting bored. So for me, I wanted a new challenge and I took up consulting. I took something more challenging because I'm super hungry and being very knowledgeable in business and personal development. So as a consultant, I have seen the importance of data firsthand. Palantir and IBM are 2 different types of technology companies. Palantir's market value has tripled since its direct listing last September thanks to robust growth of its data mining and AI platforms. IBM, which went public 110 years ago, yeah, over a century, has lost about 1/5 of its value over the past decade as it struggles to grow its legacy business. That's because IBM has very low innovation. I'm the worst employee, I'm an entrepreneur, and I need to be a leader, but man, if I was an employee, I would not want to work at a company that is stalling and not innovating. Palantir is a completely different beast though, and this stock is a buy for me for similar reasons that I bought Tesla stock. Data. If Palantir achieves its ambitious growth targets, its stock could certainly be worth $100 billion in a few years and $500 billion in a decade or 2. 10x in 10 to 15 years is exactly what I'm looking for. If you had bought 100 shares of Palantir at $10 on the first day, your $1,000 investment would now have grown to $4,500 back in January. Today, it would still be worth nearly $2,900, which is still an impressive 1-year return. So honestly, my numbers could be conservative. I think this stock still has a lot of room to run. Palantir believes its Gotham platform will become the default operating system for data across the United States government, and a growing need for real-time data, analytics, and cybersecurity services across all of America's military branches and government agencies could help it achieve its goal. I want you guys to be smart with your investments. Too many people swing for the fences and have losses when you could be making big gains off of the more certain plays out there. You don't need to have an opinion on every stock or be an expert. You just need to be right on a few stocks and you will get rich. Now I want to jump into my screen and talk about Palantir's technical chart and how I'm investing in the stock, as well as how I'm using options to generate income. All right guys, so let's take a look at my Palantir stock position right now. The market is currently closed because I'm in Europe, so it is 5 a.m. right now, but I'm going to be buying $25,000 more of Palantir. But as you guys can already see, I have $25,888 worth of Palantir stock right now. I have 1,000 shares and it's about 2% of my portfolio diversity. Now my average cost is $25 $23.05. It was $24 because I sold a lot of puts to get into the stock. However, I recently just bought 300 more shares to round up my total amount of shares to 1,000, and I plan to buy another 1,000 shares when the market opens today. Now, with that being said, that is my stock position. I also love to play options because for me, as an option trader, I'm always trying to utilize the money that I have invested in the market and trying to leverage that money and generate income with the shares that I own. So I'm gonna scroll down into my current positions. And as you guys can see here, I currently have 13 contracts on Palantir. So I have a whole lot of stuff going on here, and let me explain what I'm specifically doing. As you guys can see right here, I'm utilizing my full 1,000 shares by selling 10 contracts worth of call options. So the first call option that I have is a $29 call. And basically what I'm doing there, every single week, I'm selling covered calls and I'm trying to generate money on Palantir, and it has been going really, really well. And even when Palantir goes above my strike price for my call option, what I'm doing there on a Friday specifically is I'm rolling that option, I'm closing it out, and I'm opening it up for a future date. That way, it's pretty much a never losing strategy, and I can't lose on the stock because even if it goes into the money, I'm buying back the contract. For example, let's say that Palantir went to $30 per share. I would buy back the $29 call and I would just sell a 30 call for next week or a 30 call for 2 weeks from there, because what I'm doing there is I'm basically collecting more money. Yes, I have to pay money to close the position. However, when I close the position, I can open up a new one, and that new position almost always subsidizes the old position, while at the same time, I'm rolling my strike price higher. So I have a non-losing strategy there with covered calls, and I'm selling them on a consistent weekly basis. And actually, if I open this up right now, I wanna show you guys exactly how much I'm basically making. Here, as you guys can see, the credit is $240 and I'm currently up $170. I mean, $240 for 1 week's worth of work. I mean, I'm not even working, right? I'm just pressing a few buttons. Is fantastic, because if you can do this every single week, basically 4 weeks in a row, which would be 1 month, you would collect about $1,000. So basically, I'm paying my rent with Palantir stock. I mean, my rent is a lot more expensive than that, but you guys get the point. You can absolutely pay your rent by just selling covered calls. Now, this is one of my favorite positions to do. I am going to go back because I am running a different strategy on Palantir as well. Not only am I selling covered calls, but I'm also always looking to aggressively get into the stock because, as I mentioned, I'm a really big bull on Palantir long term. I think we have $100 billion market cap potential. And in the next 1, 2, maybe 3 years from now, we can absolutely see a double in the stock, especially if they stay on the same trajectory that they're on, continue to land more government contracts, continue to land more enterprise contracts, and the company continues to grow. I can absolutely see it going to $100 billion in the shorter term. Of course, $500 billion in the longer term, maybe at the end of the decade or slightly past that 10-year mark. I don't know exactly, just like nobody else knows exactly. However, I'm bullish on the long-term perspectives of this company. So for me, the second thing that I'm doing with options is I'm not just selling covered calls, I'm selling puts right here, guys. So you can see that I have the 25 puts. And for me, that's a very attractive option because worst thing that can happen, right, is Palantir goes down below $25 per share. Fantastic. I'm not only making money off the 29 call or the 29 covered call expiring worthless, now I'm adding more shares of Palantir into my account. And as I mentioned, I really don't mind accumulating more shares. So real quick, guys, before I wrap up, I want to tell you about a covered straddle. So this is what's called a covered straddle. When you're selling calls, or specifically covered calls, but you're also selling puts, it's actually called a covered straddle, because when you sell calls, when you sell puts, this is called a straddle. However, I'm covered because I have the shares behind me. I never advocate people to just sell naked call options, because if you do that, if you sell naked call options, first of all, your broker most likely will not let you do that. But if you do that and the stock ends up rising, you have unlimited risk potential. And I never want anyone to be in that position where you have unlimited risk. So for me, this is the best way to actually sell a lot of delta, to sell a lot of theta, to sell a lot of premium in general. You're going to be making consistent money when you're selling options more so than buying options. However, if you didn't check out the video that I have on Lulu call options, that is a very informative video. I'm going to link it to you guys in the description below. I actually had a 280% return by buying call options, but that is less consistent than selling options. Of course, it is a little bit more sexy. It's a lot more fun to make 280% rather than just making 1, 2, or 3, or 4% per week. However, for me, I like to incorporate both of these strategies, and covered straddles is something that I'm executing all the time. And specifically, maybe some of you guys didn't know this, but I'm actually running a covered straddle strategy. It's basically just selling covered calls and selling puts, but it's called a covered straddle. If you want to see my live trades, my option signals, have access to me, 2 different coaches, a licensed CPA, you can book a free call by submitting an application in the first link below for my private option Discord. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
No one ever sees me, I'm losing every battle.